Hey guys, it's Jenna Magenta. I've never done a vlog before and I thought I'd go ahead and try one. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself because I don't know what else to talk about. So I am a stay-at-home mom and I'm not really a single mom, but I sort of am at the same time. It's a complicated situation because my husband is American and I'm Canadian. And we're trying to go through the immigration process, and it's just not been working out for us. It's taking forever. So we've been married for a little over 2 years, and we've applied a year ago, June, to get myself and my son a green card so we can go to the United States with my husband, and it's taking a long time. It's a little frustrating. Not to bash the immigration system or government or anything. That's not what I'm intending to do here, but I mean, the reason it's taking so long, we sent in the application a year ago, June, and we were waiting and waiting because they said on the webpage like 4 to 5 months minimum to hear anything back from them, right? So we're waiting to hear back, and we're like, well, it must just be taking longer. Like, it's probably just sitting on a desk somewhere and it's under a pile of papers. Finally, March comes around. My husband mentions it to one of the border agents on his way back over, and they tell him, no, you should have heard something. So he finally gets in contact with them, and they're like, oh, well, we don't have your marriage certificate to be processing your application. And he had actually sent in the marriage certificate with all the other papers. So they lost our marriage certificate, and they didn't tell us that we needed to send another one. So that's why that's taking so long. And of course, now that the government's shut down right now, that's not going to be going anywhere either. But I mean, it'll happen. I have faith that it will, but it's frustrating, being here without my husband. But, we're managing, and like I said, we've been married a little over 2 years, and we have a 19-month-old son named Jack, and he's a handful. I say he's hit the terrible twos early, but that's just my opinion. Everyone else thinks he's an angel, and that's just because they don't see him when he's at home by himself. By himself with me, I mean. It's just gets into everything. What else? I live in Ontario, Canada. I live in a tiny little town that nobody will have ever heard of because it is like population of 4,000 people, and I've lived here. This used to be my grandma's house that I'm in right now. So it's actually on the same property as my dad's house. So the house next to this one I lived in until I was 16. Then I turned 16 and I moved around like a whole bunch. My parents actually split up when I was 16, and after a while I went to live with my mom, and she had moved to Oshawa, near Toronto. And so I went and lived with her there, and then we just moved like crazy for like 4 years. It was like we moved there, and then we moved to Nova Scotia. My stepdad is an electrician, and he was moving around for work. So we moved to Nova Scotia, and the first place we moved into there, we were only there for a couple months, and then we moved. So that was Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and then we moved to Spryfield. I think it was called Spryfield, somewhere around there in Nova Scotia again, and then we moved to Beaverbank, Nova Scotia, partway through my last school year. So I was still at the same school, but it was frustrating because we were moving like right before exams, like it was just a month or two before, and it was stress. Anyways, moved there, and then oh gosh, what happened after that? Oh, and then my stepdad went out to Saskatchewan for work. So it's like going from East Coast to farther out to the West Coast. So my mom was like, well, I'm going to go down there. I want to be with him while he's down there. But they still kept the house in Nova Scotia because they were like, well, it's only temporary. He'll come back. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be here by myself, and I don't really want to go to Saskatchewan So what happened was my husband and I at the time were just still dating. I went and stayed with his family in Abilene, Texas for a month, and then went to Saskatchewan from there because they were staying longer than they had originally intended. Oh, staying in Abilene, though, it was great. I loved it. Such Southern hospitality. I love my husband's family. They treated me like part of the family from the beginning. They are so amazing. So then we were in Saskatchewan. We were in Martinsville, Saskatchewan. From there we went to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, because they wanted to be closer into the city for work and stuff, right? Then they were going to move back to Nova Scotia, and I moved down to Abilene to be with my husband, who at the time was my boyfriend. We got engaged while I was there, and we got married, and everything just went to crap after that with immigration and stuff, because I stayed there for 6 months. It was great. I loved it. I love Abilene. It's such a nice, beautiful place to live. And I love how it's not humid. I cannot stand humidity. You get it so much here in Ontario, and in Abilene, it was hot. It was that year that I was there, actually. I was there through the summer, and they broke the record for the most days in a row that it was over 100 degrees. It was so hot, but it was a dry heat. So I was like, oh, well, as long as I stay in the apartment and, whatever. So bright and sunny, I kept all the blinds open. And then, of course, Chris would come home from work and he'd shut them all because he's like such a hermit. Like he's like, he's not antisocial, but he doesn't want to go out. He wants to stay home with the blinds shut and, relax at home, which is fine. It's just, it's like the opposite of me. Like, I want to go out. I want to be around people. And around here, I don't get to do that. Like, I'm stuck in the house. And it's hard. I mean, like I said, it's a town with a population of 4,000. I'm sorry if you can hear my clock dinging. I don't know how to turn that off. It's my grandma's clock, and it's been here forever, and it drives me crazy sometimes, but I don't know how to turn it off. So, oh gosh, what was I talking about? Oh, so like I said, I'm living in a town that's like 4,000 population, right? And there's obviously no public transport because it's in the middle of nowhere, which I love it here. I really do, but I don't have my own vehicle, so that makes it really hard. I can borrow my brother's vehicle or my dad's vehicle because they live next door, but, I can't rely on the fact that there will always be a vehicle around for me to use. So, I feel very secluded. There's not a whole lot of people, people are busy. Everyone else, like all my friends, they have jobs and have all these other friends in all these other towns, and they're going around visiting with them all the time, and it's like, I'm stuck here by myself. But I mean, I'm not by myself all the time. People do come to visit if I make the arrangements. People just don't think about calling me, I guess, which is fine. Like I said, they're busy. But, yeah. I think that is all I'm going to talk about for now because I've run out of things to ramble on about. So that's me. See you laters.